Do you know what kind of seller you are?
Welcome back to Sales Operations for Small Businesses.
I ask because you'd be thinking, why am I asking this? This is sales operations. This is not direct selling. But I'm asking because sales operations involves selling, but it involves selling internally, not externally. So have you thought about what kind of salesperson you are? To be really simple about it, let's say we've got farmers and we've got hunters. Hunters are people who actively track down leads and convert them, right? They're a numbers game. They can take the nose much better than anybody else, right? Whereas your farmers are people who've already got clients and they know how to get the most out of them. They know how to really, really get into that company and going deep, right? So if you think of hunters as going wide, farmers are going deep. So with that said, what kind of salesperson do you think you are? Because it might not seem obvious initially. I'd encourage you to have the conversation with some of your peers as well. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a chief operating officer, and she was saying she's definitely a hunter, without a doubt. There's not a question in her mind. And I was quite surprised about that because the thing that we have in common is operations. I'm a farmer through and through. I fully understand the need for hunters and why what they do is so beneficial. Clearly, we want to be filling that pipeline. We want to be converting things so that things are real. We want these, and it's great. It doesn't, whilst I can do it, it doesn't ring my bells at all, not even slightly. It's just, I think I'd find it extremely tiring. And that's not even the constantly being told no, or having to deal with that kind of rejection all the time. It just doesn't match up with my personality. It's not something that gives me energy. If I had to do it, then I would do it, but it doesn't align with me naturally. What does align with me is being able to understand the needs of the client so that I can get really, really deep in figuring out what their long-term plans are and how to make those work with our plans. Not by convincing them to do something that they wouldn't want to do, but to basically play snap, to align their stuff with the stuff that we have to make sure we are their go-to person when they need help on certain things. And to do that, you need to know information. You need to be able to really, really know what the clients, what their organization's goals are, and you need to know what the actual person you're dealing with, what their goals are, because they might want to rise up in the company. The particular project that you're working on with them might be their big ticket. It might be their last ticket if they've been messing up internally. So you need to know what emotions are driving them, what areas of concern or development are driving them as well as the company as a whole. And yeah, I mean, you can even see by my explanations, I'm so much more a farmer. It's more about going deep, a really, really long-term strategic alignment for me. And again, I ask the question because if you, as somebody who's working in sales ops, or as a leader who's doing, a very, very small company and you're a leader and you're managing sales ops yourself, it's worth really figuring out what kind of salesperson you are. Because there are a lot of people to say that, you need to at least bring up your minimal level to a certain degree so that you know how to do a little bit of everything. And I do understand and appreciate that, but I'm also very, very pro efficiency. And so I would never encourage anybody to waste their time trying to develop a skill that they have absolutely no interest in, even if it has a purpose. If there's a way for you to know what the objectives of that skill is, selling in a different way is, and what good looks like, and it's possible for you to get somebody else to do that bit, strongly suggest you do that. If you've got a sales organization and they're doing a bit of everything, they're doing account managing and they're doing hunting, it may be worth splitting them up, because you'll find that some of them are great account managers and some of them only ever hunt. They'll never fill in their Salesforce. It's ridiculously hard to ask them to do anything to do with things like that. Then it might be worth splitting them up into two different teams of hunters and farmers so that they can do what they're best at, because that is when you will get the best out of them, is when they enjoy what they do. We don't just work for the money. Yes, obviously, money is great. We like money here. But the point is to develop and really make flower the parts of our days, the activities that bring us joy. Because if we do those things well, everybody has a different thing that they enjoy. And yes, you can develop other parts, but developing it from 0 to 100 is much harder than developing something from 60 to 100. So if there's no desire there for somebody to start from 0 and to go to 100, why are we forcing them? Why are we not just aligning people to the things that work best for their skill set? And so I say to you, as somebody who's working in sales operations, I would ask you, I would encourage you to really, really learn and get to know what your selling style is, because that will help you when you're having conversations with people. If you know that you need to actively hunt to get this new project approved, for example, then you know what would help you? Finding a hunter and asking them how they would do it. Getting them to talk through it with you, rather than just sitting there and going mad in your own brain and possibly even getting a little bit scared because nobody really likes to present, or very few people do. Ask a hunter. Ask somebody who you know is a hunter. Do you know what? I've got this situation. How would you handle it? The ways that they'll be able to open your eyes about how to do things you probably would have never thought of, and it will not seem anywhere near as scary when you have somebody who's done it before, who does it all the time, say to you, if you touch on these points in this order, then this is going to help you. In the same way that if you have to do some farming, if you have to do deep work with people internally, and that's not your usual thing, that's not your usual go-to, then again, you find somebody who is quite deep. Someone who, usually the person who you end up on the phone to them and you end up just sharing things that you didn't intend to share. That person, find that person, ask them how they would deal with the situation, because they'll be able to help you. A lot of sales operations is about communicating. Obviously, it's about order and structure and uniformity. But a lot of it is about communicating. It's about knowing people. It's about getting to know people. That's the most efficient way to get things done, in my opinion. So do let me know in the comments whether you are a hunter or a farmer and what situations happen to let you know that. If you are watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, please also subscribe there. And please do join me on Tuesdays from the 23rd of May, every lunchtime, because there'll be a 30-minute Q&A session online live for free. Please find the link in the show notes, and I will see you soon.